Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to talk about myself. Sorry. I am Nesrin Bal. I'm working at Yavuz Sultan Selim Anatolian High School as an EFL teacher in Siirt. My project's title is Introducing the Concept of Linguistic Landscapes to High School Students through Multiple Activities. And this is the outline of my presentation. First, I will talk about information about target group, then the process of how I make students ready for linguistic landscape concept and finding materials. Then conducting the linguistic landscape into the lesson, we have 3 groups and 3 different activities. Students' materials and how students benefit from these projects and projects contributions to me. These are my students' information. They are 9th grade students and they are 14 and 15 years old. Their level is pre-intermediate level, and we did these projects by online lesson, as we all know, due to COVID-19 pandemic. And we have 3 different groups and 3 different activities, as I said before. First of all, I show them different linguistic landscape materials like a cloth, a label, and a t-shirt, talk, and a poster. Then I give a linguistic landscapes definition, what it is. And by doing this, I try to teach the linguistic landscape concept so they will understand that it's a broad concept and we can see linguistic landscape examples in both our community and on virtual community too. These are the materials I show students. And first group activity is dudewithsign. First, I want to talk about briefly what is dudewithsign. This is a social media account. This is in which signs were shared with a humorous touch. And for further information for everybody, you can look at his post on his social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by writing dudewithsign. And I show this picture to students and many others. Ask some specific questions. First, I asked, do you follow this man on social media accounts? And they said that they don't know this man and they don't follow his social media accounts. And I asked, when should this photo be taken? And they said that near Christmas it would be taken because he said, see you next year, isn't a funny joke. And I asked, did you use this joke to somebody before and how did they react? They used it before and their friends got angry and almost said the same thing like this man said. And then I asked my students to explore his social media accounts and look at his posts, then share the examples with their group friends. And besides, they develop their critiques by adapting the linguistic landscapes, the linguistic structures they learned in class. And these are my students' products. They write their critiques about the things bother them. For example, look at this one. He generally criticized for wearing an earring. And he wrote, accessories have no gender. And I agree with him. Accessories have no gender. And this one, wear the mask on your nose, not your arm. This is also a general message for all society, I think. And the others, nobody cares your makeup videos. And these are the others, productions of my students, as you see. And the second group activities is brand names as linguistic landscapes. Briefly, I will talk about what I make with students. As we know, some products names are used in our daily language actively. For example, Selpak is a brand name, but we use Selpak in Turkey. In Turkey, it's a brand name, but we use instead of peçete in Turkish. Or clinics, it's a brand name in USA, but instead of saying tissue, the people in there say clinics. And these are 2. Xerox is a photocopy machine, but it is added to dictionary as the synonym of photocopy. Or Google, it's a searching engine, but it is added to dictionary too as the synonym of search. And I ask my students to seek some examples like them in both their community and target community. And students also should find the product's real names in both languages, and they try to create a new brand name for a product. By doing all of these, students can make comparisons and engage them in cross-cultural connections. And these are students' products, students' findings. For example, look at this Hoover. It is a vacuum cleaner, but we don't say vacuum cleaner. Instead of it, we use brand name Hoover. Or Nescafe in Turkey. Instead of saying coffee, we use Nescafe. Or the Sarelle. It is a brand name, but instead of saying chocolate, we use Sarelle. And the others, students find them. And these are my students' brand names for some specific products. Asterpon, it's an antibiotic pill, and she wrote the formula under the product's brand names. A Lively Coffee for a coffee brand, and Make It, and she adds some humor. My students add some humor, not talking about, and she drew a calendar. It is this. She add some humor to their product brand. And our third activity is cafes or bookshop names. As we all know, we use English cafes and bookshop names in our society. These names are also an example of linguistic landscape. First, I show these pictures to students and ask these questions. By the way, this picture is taken from Siirt. This is a cafe name in a Siirt. And I asked these questions. What do you see in these pictures? Students said it's a cafe and bookshop name. And why do they use these English names? They said that English is a trend language in our country, and it is also lingua franca in the world. Which cafe names are more attractive, Turkish ones or English ones? They said that English ones are more attractive than Turkish ones. And are the symbols and the bookshop's name related? They said that yes, it's related. You can see the learned owl, and they add an owl picture on the books. And I asked my students to find similar examples either in their environment or on internet. Then students are encouraged to create cafe or bookshop names and logos. And these are my students' products. By the way, this Cafe Historia is also located in Siirt. And these are the students finding. They found these pictures on internet, Cherry Blossom Booksellers, Lord of the Wings. And look at this Drip Cafe. Drip, as you know, the synonym of drop, and it is logo and cafe name is related. Flora Cafe, and it is a menu from a cafe. She adds some pictures and draws some pictures. And these are two. Look at this. My favorite is one, the Tunnel of Books. This is a bookshop's name, and its logo is completely related with its name. And Crazy Cafe, it is very colorful and vivid. These are my students' products. And project benefits to my students is students are familiar with the concept of linguistic landscape by the end of this project, and it raises students' awareness for various signs, and students can make comparisons and engage in cross-cultural connections. It develops students' social awareness, and students can make critics, and students will focus on their environment carefully, and students can learn grammatical structures through activities. And it will be a different experience in their lives, and students discover and search science in both their environment and virtual environment. And students will be active and take responsibility. And and it develops creative thinking of students, and it develops cooperative learning because students work with each other and share their examples with their group friends. And projects benefits to me, it also raises my social awareness, and I gain a different perspective and viewpoint. And I also take responsibility because I prepare materials and I giving directions in all steps of these projects to students. And I learned different dimensions of language, and I discover and develop materials. And it provides a different experience for my teaching and learning life. And it develops creative thinking skills of me. And it gives me a chance to use different teaching methods and techniques. And it gives me to spend a pleasant time with my students. And I focus on my environment carefully. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your listening. I hope you enjoy all. Any question you can ask here, or you can ask via my email. I will be very happy for sharing my experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much.